Hey, what up, man? This is Booker T, the five-time WCW champion. Sucker, you're on the Real News Talk channel. I see Swerve Strickland running his mouth about me in AEW and on the federal agents platform VladTV after I congratulated him on becoming the first Black African-American AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And this is what I get in return, calling me a sellout and saying, fuck Booker T. All right, you'll soon regret everything you said about me because I paved the way for young Black talents like yourself and kicked down doors only to get disrespected by my own kind. Say no more. Swerve Strickland, I am coming for you, nigga. Retronic Ice Cat, you know what the fuck to do.
Yo. That's right. You know what the fuck to do. This is the Retro Kid, Retronic Ice Cat, back in the motherfucking building after a little hiatus. I know I've been gone for a while, and you're probably wondering where the fuck have I been. But yeah, I've been keeping up with the product, and I have been keeping up on what is going on. There's a lot of madness going on, man. There's too many things to talk about, and I don't even know where to start. But this one stands out particularly, and that's the intense back and forth situation between Booker T, the OG, and Swerve Strickland. Obviously, most of you know that Swerve Strickland was on VladTV, where VladTV interviews a lot of Black public celebrities and male figures, about their past and all of that. And some of these public figures end up going on there and incriminating themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Hence why some of them end up dead or in jail after going on VladTV. And some may say that VladTV is a fed and whatnot, or he's just a federal agent, or an undercover, or what have you. But that's the thing. When you go on those platforms, eventually you're going to get tricked because he's going to be asking you questions and you might end up slipping up. Sometimes. And I believe that's where Booker T was coming from with Swerve Strickland saying that how Booker T's a sellout and whatnot. And he's referring about the angle that happened between Cena, Vince McMahon, and Booker T when Booker T was just walking by and he overheard Vince McMahon saying the word nigger. And Booker T was like, tell me he didn't just say that. So Swerve Strickland thought that, yeah, okay. He let Vince McMahon slide with him using the N-word right in front of him and his wife. So, according to Swerve Strickland, Booker T is like an Uncle Tom, or a coon, or what have you. In the mind of Swerve Strickland, that is. You know what I'm saying? But then Booker T responded saying that, look, man, I know how the business works. I've been in the business since 1990, and racism didn't die in 1990. Racism's been around way longer than that. But let's be real. Booker T has been in the company for a long time. A 5-time WCW champion, a 1-time WWE World Heavyweight Champion, and I believe he was a former TNA Heavyweight Champion, if I'm not mistaken. And he has paved the way for a lot of young Black wrestlers. Because if it wasn't for Booker T, most of these Black wrestlers wouldn't be in the company right now. And that's a fact. You can't argue with that. Booker T's broke down barriers. He didn't let the whole racist shit discourage him from pushing even further, because a lot of people would get discouraged and just quit because that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants you to quit because he knows you're easily triggered by the whole double standard racist shit that goes on in the entertainment industry and sporting industry. He never let that hinder him from taking things to the next level. And Booker T did that. He broke barriers. He smashed down doors. And he's accomplished a lot. He even has his own wrestling school and his own wrestling company as well. Reality of Wrestling. So he's doing well for himself. You know what I mean? But Swerve Strickland ain't looking at that, you know? Because obviously, this generation, right, has a lot of things handed to them, compared to the older generation, because the older generation didn't have things handed to them. They had to work for it. They had to work double harder. And the era that they grew up in, racism was more in your face back then. And they were more harder compared to now. Now it's a lot more softer. That's why this generation and my generation, you know, some people in my generation, not all, find a reason to complain about certain things. At the end of the day, it's all about the mindset. If you have a negative mindset, you're not going to go far in life. But if you have a positive mindset, you can accomplish anything. You can hop over any obstacle that is in your way. And some may say, oh, it's easier said than done. Yes, it is easier said than done. It is very hard. But at the same time, you have to train yourself in order to reach and accomplish what you want to accomplish. You know? And that's the mindset that Booker T has. Booker T has a positive mindset. That's why he's in the position he's at right now. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't hate on that. You can't hate on a man that's paved the way for young guys like Swerve Strickland. You know, New Day, Street Profits, what have you. He paved the way for a lot of black talent. But you let VladTV play with your emotions and you fall right into the trap. And VladTV is very good at that. He's very good at stirring the pot when it comes to black people. He's very good at that. Because a lot of black people have fallen into his traps. Hence why some of them are dead. Some of them are in jail. You know, for telling on themselves. And VladTV doesn't have to do anything. He just sits there and lets you talk your shit. And then later on, when the truth is revealed, then that's when trouble comes and shit will come back to bite you on the ass. You know? Because the enemy's job is to put the black man against the black man. Because they don't want black people to unite. They want to keep us divided. They want us to hate on one another, kill one another. You know? Because back in the day, the enemy would try and kill black people or have killed black people. Because you had a lot of racist groups back in the day that would hunt niggas down, chase them down, kill them, lynch them, dump their body in an isolated area, and nothing will happen. Nowadays, all the enemy has to do is sit back and watch niggas kill each other. You know? Which is a curse. That's the biggest curse in the black community, because it says in the Bible, your eye shall be evil towards your brother. And that's the curse that's currently proceeding as we speak. And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. I don't know what it's going to take for that change to happen, but hey, until then, us black people are just going to continue to hate on one another because we don't like to see another black person succeed. Hence why black people don't have their own military. They don't have their own banks. You know, the only thing that black people have is their little small businesses like hair shop, African Caribbean shop, barber shop. That's all they have. You know why they have that? Because the enemy gave it to them. But black people don't have their own corporations. You know? Compared to the other nations. The other nations have their own corporations. They have their own shop, their own businesses, and that. And we are their biggest consumers. We rather spend our money. Yeah, we rather spend our money on these other nations' businesses than our own. Because we treat each other like shit. We have Stockholm Syndrome. We favor the enemy more than our own. Hence why the other nations don't respect us. And they never will. Until black people come together and unite and stop all this bitterness and hatred towards each other, hell, the disrespect is going to continue. And it's never going to end. You know? It's sickening, man. It's fucking sickening. You understand? That's why whether you're a good black person or a bad black person, you will always be labeled in the same category as the bad ones that go around robbing people, killing people. Whether you dress the part of a lowlife or a decent brother or sister, you're always going to get labeled the same because we live in a judgmental world where people just automatically judge someone without even knowing them, especially when it comes to black people, because in their eyes, we all look the same, right? We all act the same, right? Due to the media, because the media pushes that out there. They think that every country in Africa is poor, and that's not the case because the media has been designed for other people to look down on black people. That's why when a lot of foreign people come over to the Western world, they automatically look down on blacks because some of them have never seen a black person before in their life until they come to Babylon. And when they see black people, they don't want to know. Or they get told to keep away from black people because they believe that all black people are bad, you know, they're low class, and that they see them in the projects. And when they come over to this country, they're living in luxury buildings, new accommodations and stuff like that. Everything. They get everything handed to them, grants, loans, what have you. While the blacks are suffering in the projects, in the slums. That's a fucking curse, man. That is a curse. You know? And I see why certain black folks would rather live in a white area than a black area. Because our people, you know, have too much enviness and hate towards one another. And we can't even trust each other. Because the system has been designed for us to hate one another and fight one another. Hence why you're seeing this back and forth shit with Swerve Strickland and Booker T. And people are loving it. Trust me, deep down inside, they're loving it. Even the other wrestlers are loving it too. But they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to say nothing. They're just going to keep a tight lip. They're just sitting back, eating their popcorns and watching the show unfold. Real talk, man. But yeah, let me get into the article anyway. Swerve's AEW Dynasty mic drop on Booker T fires back with harsh fan reactions. Swerve Strickland's AEW Dynasty main event loss to Jon Moxley might have hurt, but it's what happened after the cameras stopped rolling that sparked the biggest backlash. As the Philadelphia crowd began to file out of the Liacouras Center, Swerve took the mic and delivered a direct and unexpected shot at WWE Hall of Famer Booker T, shouting, "Fuck Booker T." And the fans were cheering as well. But yeah, no surprise right there. It was a clear response to Booker's past comments questioning Swerve's marketability as a top star. That topic resurfaced in Swerve's interview with VladTV weeks ago, and tensions between them have been simmering ever since. However, fans across social media are making it clear they think Swerve picked the wrong target. He may have picked the wrong target because back in the day, he wouldn't be talking like that. Only because Booker T's older and wiser and he's 60 years old, he knows that nothing's going to happen. But I guarantee if this was like 20, 30 years ago, he wouldn't be talking like that, because if them two were to cross path, Booker T would most likely fuck him up. And that's real talk right there. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to talk shit to an OG that's retired. But a guy that's active, nah, he will not be talking that shit. But I digress. After the event, Swerve posted a photo of himself from his entrance with no caption. The replies were swift and ruthless, calling him out for deflecting blame. One fan slammed him for letting his emotions get the best of him, writing, "Got Booker T, all in your head, losing the match, and he's the first one you think of?" Another critic mocked the loss itself. "You lost to Jon Moxley, man. The aura is dead." A common theme in the replies was Swerve aiming at WWE's Booker T instead of AEW's Booker, Tony Khan. The wrong Booker got called out last night. One fan posted. Another echoed that sentiment with, "You're worried about the wrong Booker." The backlash turned even more personal as some fans accused Swerve of failing to stand behind his own message about black representation. "You speak on black representation, but you let another white man pin you 1, 2, 3 again." One user commented, "Tony really had you hype yourself up just to lose to a white man again and get screwed by 2 other white men?" This is what I'm saying, man. This is what I'm fucking saying. The enemy is fucking you, man, and you can't see that. No Diddy. Black people gotta think, man. Real talk, man. They gotta think. Others were furious over Swerve dragging another black icon into the situation. "You let the crackers turn you against another black man? I know what you are," one fan wrote. Another added, "That's not it, my guy. Booker T, not your enemy." There were also those calling his post-match promo outright embarrassing. "That was some corny ass shit you said to Booker T, and you lost." And still called out Booker T, who's built a platform for men like yourself. Fact. Even fans who once supported Swerve are turning away. One user stated, "Bro, your real life attitude and entitlement is a disappointment. BP and Shock would be ashamed. You don't deserve to rep those kinds of outfits when you're always acting like the antithesis of what they stand for." The criticism has only grown louder as Tony Khan himself caught heat for avoiding any mention of the main event on social media. Instead, his last tweet celebrated the AEW International title match, which fans hijacked with complaints over. over the main event's chaotic finish and lack of resolution. AEW is so fucked up. It's not even. It's not. Oh my God, their bookings are just all over the place, man. I can't take that company's booking seriously at all. While Swerve left it all in the ring, it's clear fans weren't buying his post-match deflection. He might have had Booker T on his he might have had Booker T on his mind, but the fans, they are holding him and AEW's creative direction accountable. Do you think Swerve should have called out Tony Khan instead of Booker T? Of course he should have called out Tony Khan, because Tony Khan, he doesn't even know how to book storylines and matches properly. Like, he just throws in anything that comes into his mind, you know? Hence why he's lost a lot of AEW talent to the WWE, you know? Ray Phoenix, Penta, Malachi Black, Miro, Ricky Starks, all in one go. Man, that's bad, man. And he's going to lose more people if he continues with his bullshit. And that's a fact, man. A lot of people are checking out of AEW already and jumping over to the other side. If this carries on, then AEW is just going to be like WCW's dying days, unfortunately. And that's sad. That's sad to say, man. God forbid that doesn't happen. That don't happen. But at the end of the day, hey, it is what it is, man. Tony Khan has got a lot of fixing up to do. He's got a lot of shit to clean in his closet. Is this backlash justified or over the line? In my mind, it is justified in a way, because at the end of the day, Swerve Strickland, he just added more fuel to the fire. He shouldn't have said anything. He shouldn't have mentioned Booker T's name. You understand what I'm saying? Because Booker T weren't really dissing him or anything like that. In fact, yeah, Booker T was the one that congratulated you for winning the AEW World Heavyweight title. Being the first Black African-American AEW World Heavyweight Champion. He congratulated you and he gave you props for it. And what did you do? You went on VladTV and started disrespecting Booker T. And now your words are backfiring on you, man. It's a shame, really. It's a shame. Because Booker T, you know, he never said anything bad about you at all. You know? His only response was that he paved the way for guys like you. And he asked you, what the hell are you even doing on Vlad TV in the first place anyway? What have you done to be on Vlad TV? Because you haven't really done much. Okay, you've become the first Black African-American AEW World Heavyweight Champion. But what else have you done in your career? When you was in the WWE, you was on NXT. You was part of that group Hit Row. But you didn't even make it to the main roster. You didn't make it to the main roster, my guy. So what does that say? Sure, you're doing your thing in AEW and whatnot, but for you to hate on another black man and his accomplishments and his success is beyond bizarre to me. Because instead of us hating each other, we should be uplifting one another and embracing one another. You know? But, you know, you're kind of coming across as a hater. And that's why you're getting all this backlash. And you might not regret it now, but later on in your career, you might regret it. Because them words, what you're saying, you might end up eating them later on. Believe that, man. But keep doing your thing. And shout out to Booker T. You know. for clearing what he needs to clear up and handling the whole thing like a professional, you know, and not letting the criticism and the hate get to him. Because Booker T, he's got thick skin, man. Booker T's from the streets. You know, he knows what's up. He's been around longer than you. So he knows what he's talking about at the end of the day. But it remains to be seen whether Booker T will respond to your comment on AEW. You may or may not respond, I don't know. But we'll see anyway. So yeah, that's all I got to say. This is the Retro Kid, Retronicast Cat on the Real News Talk channel. I've got so much to talk about, and I'm going to try and make as much videos as I can because I've got a lot of catching up to do, and I've got a lot to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the whole Tiffany Stratton, Charlotte Flair beef, you know what I mean? Because those two, their rivalry is not just a storyline. It's actually a real life thing as well, because them two seem to have some sort of issues with each other. I don't know what it is, but for them to go off script on SmackDown, something's up. I'm surprised they haven't got into a fist fight backstage. Maybe because they have an upcoming match at WrestleMania, so they're trying to keep themselves in a professional manner. Because if not for that, them two would have came to blows already. You know what I mean? Because when Tiffany Stratton mentioned Charlotte Flair and her divorce rate, you see how fast Tiffany Stratton ran out the ring when Charlotte Flair was about to get up in her face. It just goes to show you there's a lot of animosity there. And for Charlotte Flair to respond by saying, oh, wasn't Kaiser in my DMs? Yeah, that's a personal shot, man. You know, that wasn't part of the storyline. But hey, this is what makes the company interesting. Sometimes you got to go to such lengths in order to keep the product interesting. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm going to do a video on that at a later date, or maybe within the next day or so. All depends. But yeah, this is the Retro Kid, Retronicast Cat on the Real News Talk channel. Let me know your thoughts on the whole Booker T, Swerve Strickland situation. Anyway, I'm out. Peace.
I rest assured I had the energy when I saw him, because I approached Swerve Strickland and I had a conversation with Swerve Strickland. Let's talk about the conversation. But I told Swerve Strickland to his face how disappointed I am in him as a young brother, because all I did for Swerve Strickland ever was put him over and put him on a pedestal as being one of the best out there that ever did it. He deserved being the AEW champion. And for him to say something like that about me, you know, I don't know if these guys think racism stopped in 1990 when I got in the business, but it didn't. Okay, you may not hear about a lot of racial issues with Booker T, because I handled racial issues head first. I opened doors. I broke down barriers for people like Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland perhaps would not even be here if it wasn't for me. I have to apologize for nothing that I've done in this business.
Just for my amusement, fuck Booker T.
Fuck Booker T.